What if I told you that there are entire towns in America where thousands of people once lived, but today, not a single resident remains? These places aren't movie sets. They're real ghost towns, frozen in time. What happened to these once thriving communities? Why did thousands of people suddenly abandon their homes, businesses, and dreams? And what's even more surprising, some of these towns still look exactly as they did over 100 years ago. In this documentary, we'll explore 5 of the most fascinating ghost towns in America. From the gold rush boom of Bodie to the haunting silence of St. Elmo, you'll discover the true history behind these forgotten places, and the shocking events that turned thriving towns into silent ruins. But don't skip ahead, because the last ghost town on this list has a mystery and a history that most people have never heard of, and it might completely change the way you think about abandoned places. If you love history, mystery, and discovering hidden places, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the bell icon now. Let's travel back in time and uncover the forgotten ghost towns of America. Number 5. Bodie Ghost Town. Welcome to Bodie, one of the most famous and best preserved ghost towns in the United States. In the late 19th century, after gold was discovered in the area, Bodie experienced an incredible boom. Within just a few years, its population grew to nearly 10,000 people. The town was home to hotels, schools, banks, restaurants, and dozens of businesses. It was a thriving community where people came in search of fortune during the gold rush. However, as the gold mines began to run dry, everything started to change. Businesses closed, families moved away, and one by one, the streets became deserted. Within just a few decades, Bodie had turned into a silent ghost town. Today, more than 100 historic buildings remain preserved in their original condition. Inside the homes, old furniture still sits untouched, shops still contain forgotten items, and school desks remain exactly where they were left, making it feel as though time has stood still for over a century. One of Bodie's most famous legends is the Bodie curse. According to local folklore, anyone who takes even the smallest souvenir from the town will suffer bad luck. Every year, many visitors mail back the items they took, believing the curse followed them home. Although there is no scientific evidence to support this legend, it has made Bodie even more mysterious and fascinating. Today, Bodie is preserved as a historic state park, attracting thousands of visitors every year who come to experience a remarkable glimpse into America's gold rush era and explore one of the best preserved ghost towns in the country. Number 4. Garnet Ghost Town. Hidden deep within dense forests lies a town where the sparkle of gold once attracted hundreds of miners and their families. Today, however, only silence and abandoned buildings remain. Welcome to Garnet, one of the best preserved and most mysterious ghost towns in the United States. In 1895, after gold was discovered in the area, Garnet quickly began to grow. Within just a few years, hundreds of miners, merchants, and their families settled here. The town featured hotels, a general store, saloons, a bakery, and other essential businesses, making it a symbol of hope and prosperity during Montana's gold rush. But the prosperity didn't last for long. As gold production began to decline, people started leaving in search of better opportunities. Later, a devastating fire damaged several buildings, and eventually, Garnet was almost completely abandoned. Today, Garnet is famous for its remarkably well-preserved wooden buildings. Walking through its quiet streets feels like stepping back in time by more than a century. The old homes, empty stores, and silent roads serve as a living reminder of America's gold rush era. During winter, when snow blankets the entire town, Garnet becomes even more mysterious and breathtaking. That's why history enthusiasts, photographers, and adventure seekers visit this remarkable ghost town every year to experience one of America's hidden historical treasures. Number 3. Calico Ghost Town. Welcome to Calico, one of the most famous and best preserved ghost towns in the United States. In 1881, after a massive deposit of silver was discovered in the area, Calico transformed almost overnight into a booming mining town. Within just a few years, nearly 3,500 people had settled there. The town featured schools, hotels, restaurants, general stores, saloons, and a post office. Mining activity was everywhere, and Calico quickly became a thriving community. However, the prosperity didn't last. In the 1890s, the price of silver dropped dramatically, forcing many of the mines to shut down. As jobs disappeared, people began leaving one by one, and before long, Calico had become a silent ghost town. Fortunately, the town was later restored and preserved so future generations could experience an important part of America's mining history. Today, its historic wooden buildings, old shops, mine entrances, and remnants of the railroad offer visitors a fascinating glimpse into the past. Every year, thousands of tourists from around the world visit Calico to explore this historic landmark, tour the old mines, and imagine what life was like during the town's bustling mining days. Number 2, Rhyolite Ghost Town. Welcome to Rhyolite, one of the most mysterious ghost towns in the United States. In the middle of the desert lies a town where thousands of people once arrived, dreaming of striking it rich with gold. Today, however, all that remains are crumbling buildings and an eerie silence. In 1904, after rich gold deposits were discovered in the area, Rhyolite experienced an incredible boom. Within just a few years, thousands of people settled here. The town had electricity, running water, banks, schools, hotels, a hospital, a railroad station, and numerous businesses. At the time, many believed Rhyolite would become one of the richest and most successful cities in the American West, but fortune changed quickly. Just a few years later, gold production began to decline. Then the financial panic of 1907 dealt a devastating blow to the town's economy. Mines shut down, businesses closed, and residents gradually left in search of better opportunities. Within only a few years, Rhyolite was almost completely abandoned. Today, only a handful of stone buildings, the remains of the old bank, the railroad station, and historic ruins are left standing. These silent ruins tell the remarkable story of both the success and the downfall of America's gold rush era. Another fascinating fact about Rhyolite is that it is located near the famous Death Valley National Park. Because of its rich history and mysterious atmosphere, thousands of visitors travel here every year to explore one of America's most iconic ghost towns. Number 1, St. Elmo Ghost Town. Welcome to St. Elmo, one of the most beautiful and best preserved ghost towns in the United States. Have you ever imagined a town where the sound of trains once echoed through the streets, markets were full of life, and people chased their dreams? Yet today, only silent roads and abandoned buildings remain. In 1880, after gold and silver were discovered in the area, St. Elmo began to grow rapidly. Within just a few years, its population reached nearly 2,000 people. The town featured hotels, a general store, a school, saloons, a church, and a railroad station. Every day, miners arrived here in search of work and fortune. But as time passed, the mines began producing less gold and silver. As mining operations slowed down and eventually closed, jobs disappeared and residents gradually moved away. By the 1920s, the railroad service had also ended, leaving St. Elmo almost completely abandoned. Today, the town's historic wooden buildings remain remarkably well preserved. The old general store, hotel, and many other historic structures still stand as reminders of a once thriving community. Surrounded by breathtaking mountains and peaceful scenery, St. Elmo is not only mysterious, but also incredibly beautiful. Every year, thousands of tourists and photographers visit St. Elmo to experience this living piece of America's gold rush history. It stands as a powerful reminder that even the most prosperous towns can eventually become silent monuments to the past.